Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the ruins of what had been downtown Tokyo, her boots crunching on glass and debris. Around her, emergency crews pulled survivors from the wreckage of buildings that had stood for decades, reduced to rubble in 17 minutes of orbital bombardment. The death toll was climbing past 2 million. "Admiral," her aide reported quietly, "the Zephyrian Empire is broadcasting again." Sarah didn't look up from the small girl's shoe she held in her hands, all that remained to identify one of the victims. "Put it through." The holographic display materialized above the debris, showing High Commander Vex Thalar, his insectoid features twisted in what passed for satisfaction among his species. "Humans of Earth," he began, his translated voice echoing across the devastation. "This demonstration was necessary to show you the futility of resistance. The Zephyrian Empire claims this system. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally, or we will demonstrate our power on your other major population centers." Sarah finally looked up, her face expressionless. End transmission. The hologram flickered off, leaving only the sounds of rescue operations and distant fires. Her aide, Colonel Martinez, watched her carefully. "Admiral, the Security Council is requesting immediate response options. Tell them I'll be there in an hour." Sarah dropped the small shoe gently among the other personal effects being collected. "And Colonel?" "Yes, ma'am." "Send a message to Admiral Patel at Lunar Base. Tell him to begin Implementation 7. Martinez's face went pale. "Ma'am, Implementation 7 requires unanimous Security Council approval. It's never been. The Security Council authorized me to use any necessary means to protect Earth. Tokyo just became necessary." Sarah's voice was quiet, but something in her tone made Martinez step back. "Patch me through to President Morrison." 20 minutes later, Sarah stood before a hastily assembled video conference with world leaders. The faces on screen showed a mixture of grief, rage, and determination. "The Zephyrian Empire has made a critical error," Sarah began without preamble. "They believe we'll fold like the other 43 species they've conquered. They think one demonstration of force will break our spirit." "Admiral," interrupted President Morrison, 2 million people are dead. Their fleet has over 1,000 ships. Our entire Space Force has maybe 200 vessels. Mr. President, with respect, you're thinking in terms of conventional warfare. The Zephyrians aren't." Sarah pulled up a tactical display. "They've studied our military capabilities, our fleet strength, our defensive installations. What they haven't studied is our patience." Prime Minister Nakamura of Japan leaned forward, her face streaked with tears. "What are you proposing? For 50 years, we've had contingency plans for this exact scenario. Protocols that we hoped we'd never need to implement. The Zephyrians just crossed a line that no species has ever crossed and survived." "What line?" asked Chancellor Weber. Sarah's expression hardened. "They killed our children. They attacked civilians. They struck first against a planet that had never threatened them, never even met them until today." She pressed a control, and new displays appeared showing massive installations hidden throughout the solar system. "Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Project Damocles?" The world leaders stared at the images in shock. Concealed weapons, platforms the size of city blocks, powered by fusion reactors and armed with weaponry that made their current fleet look like toys. Stealth installations on asteroids, hidden construction facilities in the Kuiper Belt, automated defense networks that had been building themselves for decades. "My God," whispered President Morrison. "How long have you been preparing for this?" "Since 2157, when we first detected signs of intelligent life beyond our system. The motto of Earth Defense Command isn't defend and protect, Mr. President. It's hope for the best, prepare for the worst. The budget allocations," Premier Zhu said slowly, "the deep space research projects, the asteroid mining operations, all real. but also cover stories for the largest military construction project in human history. Sarah's voice carried a weight that made everyone listening feel the ground shift beneath them. We've been preparing for the day someone would be stupid enough to attack Earth first. On the tactical display, red dots began appearing throughout the solar system as hidden installations came online. The Zephyrians have 1,000 ships, Sarah continued. Impressive. We have 10,000 automated defense platforms, each armed with weapons that can crack a moon. They have orbital bombardment capability. We have planet killers that can turn their homeworld into cosmic dust. What are you proposing? Asked Prime Minister Nakamura. In 18 hours, the Zephyrian fleet will be expecting our surrender. Instead, they're going to watch their entire expeditionary force disappear in 17 minutes. Then they're going to receive a message. What message? Sarah pulled up one final display star charts showing the location of the Zephyrian homeworld and every military installation in their empire. That they have 72 hours to withdraw from every system they've conquered and return to their homeworld. Or we will demonstrate what human patience looks like when it finally runs out. The world leaders exchanged glances. They'd all read the classified reports about human military psychology, about what happened when humanity's deep-seated protective instincts were triggered. The other species they conquered, Chancellor Weber asked quietly, "Do we have any communication with them?" "We've been in contact with resistance movements on 12 worlds for over a decade. They're ready to rise up the moment the Zephyrian fleet is neutralized." President Morrison rubbed his temples. This could start a war that consumes the entire sector. "Mr. President," Sarah said, her voice like ice, "this war started the moment they decided to murder 2 million of our people. We're just going to finish it." The vote was unanimous. 18 hours later, High Commander Vex Thalar stood on the bridge of his flagship, expecting to receive humanity's surrender. Instead, he watched in horror as his 1,000-ship fleet was systematically destroyed by weapons that emerged from seemingly empty space. Ships that had survived campaigns across the galaxy were reduced to debris in seconds by focused energy beams that tore through their shields like paper. In exactly 17 minutes, the same amount of time it had taken to destroy Tokyo, the entire Zephyrian expeditionary force was gone. Then came the message. Sarah appeared on every screen in the Zephyrian Empire simultaneously, her image broadcasting across their homeworld and every occupied system. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command. Your fleet attacked our world and murdered 2 million civilians. You now have 72 hours to withdraw from every conquered system and return to your homeworld. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a statement of fact." Behind her, the tactical display showed the locations of every Zephyrian military installation, every government building, every strategic target in their empire. You wanted to demonstrate your power. We've just demonstrated ours. You have 72 hours. We suggest you use them wisely. The transmission ended, leaving the Zephyrian Empire in stunned silence. Across 12 occupied worlds, resistance movements rose up as their oppressors suddenly found themselves cut off from reinforcements. And on Earth, humanity began broadcasting a new message to the galaxy. We tried patience. We tried diplomacy. We tried to be left alone. You chose war. Now you get to live with the consequences of that choice. The Zephyrian Empire, which had conquered 43 species through overwhelming initial force, learned what happened when they finally picked a fight with a species that had spent 50 years preparing for exactly this moment. They withdrew within 60 hours. And across the galaxy, every other empire quietly revised their assessment of the small blue planet and its surprisingly patient inhabitants. Very, very quietly.